Hi, I'm Takahiro and welcome back to the video. In this video, I'm going to be sharing my reaction and discussing the Promised Neverland manga arc number 2, which is the Jailbreak arc. So the Jailbreak arc runs from chapters 10 to 37, that's volumes 2 to 4, and the anime follows along until the end of season 1, so from episode 3 to episode 12 of season 1. And like my first reaction discussion, this is going to be a bit more of a comparison because I've seen the anime obviously, so it's not much of a reaction, just talking about what I thought about the manga and the things that I found different, things that I might have found better or worse, and just my overall opinion. So like the first arc, the Jailbreak arc throughout the manga is very similar to the anime. Pretty much identical. Apart from a few things, it was pretty much the same and just as good in my opinion. I like the anime for different reasons. I like seeing everything in action, color, the music, which adds a lot to the Promised Neverland. But then the manga has its own perks as well, especially the drawings. But yeah, the way I'm going to do this, I'm just going to go through specific chapters I want to talk about, and I'm just going to go through it from chapter 10 to chapter 37, talking about what I thought about the arc. So chapter 9, which was the last chapter of arc 1, ended off with the first game of tag between Sister Krone and the kids, and that's pretty much it. And then we have the kids starting to train, Emma and Norman and Ray trying to train the kids to prepare them for escape. And then chapter 10 starts off with the introduction of the spy, which I was wondering when it was going to come in, how soon they were going to bring it in the manga, because having the spy, that was a big part of the story. And it was nice to see Norman playing around and trying to figure out who the spy was. He is such a big part. One thing that I noticed while reading the manga, I'm just going to get into this straight away, because I wrote it down for this chapter because it's this chapter that I start realizing how much Norman burdens himself. So what we saw throughout season 1 was just Norman being the biggest brain in this whole mission. He is the strategist. He thinks, he's planning everything, but we don't see it nearly as much in the anime as we do in the manga, because the manga obviously is panels and we see Norman's thinking all the time, and they really dial in on Norman and how much he's thinking about this 24/7. He's thinking of plans, he's thinking about all the next steps, about who this spy could be, how they're going to get rid of the spy, what they're going to do if they find the spy, like the different scenarios of who the spy could be. He thinks about how it could be Ray. He figures out a plan for this. He's the one who designs the whole escape plan, like Norman. But the bad side about this is that we see how much he's burdening himself. This was kind of talked about a bit in season 2, which I like season 2 for showing that, is that he was just trying to burden himself and put everything on himself so he could save everyone else. But this is shown very early on in the manga now. Like, we're in chapter 10 and I've written down here, we get a look on how Norman tends to burden himself. And this carries on and gets worse throughout the manga. And we see that. We see the effect it's having on him. To the point that there's a chapter later on that Norman gets woken up from a horrid dream because of all the pressure he's been putting on himself. He's letting it all get to him. He's relying on himself too much. I was wishing the whole time that he would share this burden with Emma and Ray and Dawn and Gilda later on. I wish he wouldn't burden himself so much. But the manga does a very good job of showing this and showing how much pressure Norman is putting himself, to the point that he gives in to death and everything, and it's heartbreaking. Norman does not deserve this. And then chapter 11 is when they tell Dawn and Gilda. It was pretty much the same. They lied to them at first, they tell them the truth later on. Chapter 12, we basically just have more scary shots of Sister Krone. One thing I do want to talk about, and I talked about this with a friend as well, Sister Krone in the anime was very creepy. The manga, however, she is scary. There are drawings of her that really scare me. They terrify me. She's so well drawn to be such a scary character, such an intimidating, evil figure that we're meant to be scared of. And I am. Like, the way they do it, it's so well done. And I applaud the manga illustrator again. They're doing amazing with Sister Krone. And again, they have some panels where she looks really friendly, and that's because she's meant to look like a mother sometimes, and sometimes she's meant to look like this big bad villain, and I love it for that. And then chapter 12 is when Norman confronts Ray about being the traitor, and something that I noticed, and this is more in the next chapter, Ray is drawn to look very evil, more so than the anime. He looks like a bad guy, and it fits the fact that he was the spy and the traitor. Yes, he wasn't so much a traitor as he was trying to aid them. But the manga does a good job of twisting with you and playing with you a bit and making you think that he's evil by drawing him in a really evil way. Like, I was like, this is not Ray. Who's this guy? He's scary, kinda. And he looks evil and bad and someone like we shouldn't trust. The anime obviously like showed that as well, but not as well as the manga did, I think. And then with the confrontation, we see again how Noman is relying on himself. He's planning everything himself. He's thinking about everything himself. And that's when he has the nightmare about everyone dying. Now, nothing really else happens in the next few chapters. Like, it's just pretty much like the anime. Chapter 18, though, is the first time we notice Phil properly. So this is when Emma shows Ray and Norman the Minerva books. And Minerva's character is introduced and how he might be of help to them. But then when Emma's asked about how she managed to figure this out and like applauded for it, she credits Phil because Phil was the one who figured this out. And that is important for what happens later. It lets us kind of think a bit about Phil, try and pay attention to him and notice that he might be important and he's smarter than we thought. He's actually seen a few times around, like when Sister Krone is rummaging through Norman's things and Ray's things, we see Phil watching and he has this like look on his face, and we know later on that this is important, that Phil is a lot more aware and perceptive than we thought and a lot smarter and more cunning than we thought, and the manga does a good job of pointing this out. I know the anime did it at parts, but there was something about the manga, the way that they drew him and the way they revealed these things about him that made me keep my eye on him. Like, even if I hadn't known about Phil, I think I probably would have kept an eye on him or not have been as surprised as I might have been in the anime when I found out that Phil knew everything. And then obviously finding out about Minerva is a very important thing, which they go into a bit more. Obviously he's the one they're going to look for when they go outside, and he's the beacon of hope that they have, and we see that. They talk about Minerva a few times as like, okay, so he's the one helping us, he might still be around, he's the one that we can kind of depend on or look for. And then in chapters 22, something interesting happens. Sister Krone brings up that unreadable name again that was brought up back in the first arc, that boss of the demons, and they write his name in like squiggles so that we're not meant to be able to read it or something, or it's a different language. I'm not quite sure why it's like that. It opens up this mystery, which I really want to find out more about, and I love that they've added that in. Chapter 23 is the chapter when Sister Krone is killed. And this is after she's met up with Norman and Emma before, and she just goes so suddenly. Isabella gets rid of her straight away. And this is when Sister Krone tries to get Isabella in trouble. But what we learn is that the grandmother, who is in charge of all the mothers, knew already what was going on. And it's not that she supports Isabella. She says something interesting. She says she's using Isabella as her pawn. So even though Isabella feels like she's in control and she's in this high position, even she is being controlled by someone else unknowingly. The mothers are all pawns to this grandmother, and it adds even more to the story. And then she's probably a pawn of the demons, and the hierarchy just keeps going up until we get to the boss, who is that unreadable name person probably. And it shows us that Isabella is not even the big bad guy, not even the demons. It's the grandmother in this aspect who is playing with Isabella, and she's using her, and that's why she hasn't got rid of Isabella. Also, before Sister Krone is killed, we get to see more about the pen. So I remember there was a pen in season 1. It was brought up more in season 2, but I completely forgot about the pen, probably because I didn't think it was that important in season 1. They didn't really tell us about anything about it. We didn't see much about Sister Krone's past anyway, unless if I've forgotten. In the manga, at least, we see how Sister Krone gets the pen. So she's walking around, she's following one of the humans who can talk with the demons. And I assume this guy is William Minerva. I think that this for 3 reasons. First, he's close with the demons, he's talking with them. 2, he drops the pen on purpose for Sister Krone to pick up. And we know William Minerva is obviously trying to help the kids, so he drops the pen for Sister Krone to pick up. Third, there are initials on the pen, WM, so for William Minerva. I don't know if in the story we're meant to know his name is William, like we just know Minerva, but because of the anime season 2, I know that his name is William Minerva. But yeah, we get to see Sister Krone following after him. We see him drop the pen, her go and pick it up, and then seeing the initials and realizing that this is no normal pen. Now, we're not shown any more about that. We just see Norman picking it up after she hides it as well. and he realizes that this isn't a normal pen either, but we don't see anything about it, and I assume it's going to come in the next arc when they actually use the pen. I hope they explain that a bit more though, because in the anime, all of a sudden they were just using this pen, and I was like, how do they even know how to use this? What? I'm guessing Norman probably figured it out and left a note for Emma with the rest of the plan, or they figure it out themselves. I don't know. We'll see. And then chapter 24 is when they tried to put the inspection plan into progress, which is the plan that they're gonna have Ray distract Isabella, and then we have Emma and Norman going to the wall and planning to climb up. And this is when things go wrong. First of all, Isabella stops trusting Ray. She realizes that he's betrayed her, and she cuts everything off with him. This means that she's no longer going to guarantee Emma and Norman's safety, and she knows what's going on. She can't trust Ray, so she doesn't have anyone on the inside, or more right, like they don't have anyone on the inside. And she leaves. And this is the first time that we see Ray drawn panicky. Okay, Ray is usually the calm, collected, stoic person. He doesn't show much expression, but then the manga does an amazing job of showing him panicky and frightened and scared, and that elicits fear in us and panic as well, because this character that we're so used to seeing as a calm, reliable guy is losing it. It shows how different things are going to be now that Isabella is no longer using Ray, and Ray doesn't have inside information anymore. And then we know that what happens after that, which goes into chapter 25, is that Emma's leg is broken and Norman's shipment date is set for the next day. And that's when everything goes wrong and everything starts unwinding and spiraling and everything, and they want to save Norman, but he does not want to be saved, and it gets really emotional. I was very emotional at this part. So at chapter 28, actually, we're shown more than I think about Ray's memories. So I can't really remember what the anime shows us, but I'm pretty sure they don't show as much as the manga does, with actually drawing some of Ray's memories from being inside Isabella, who we find out later is his mother. We see him inside a woman's womb. We see when he is aware, like straight away he's aware of everything, because he doesn't lose his memories like every child normally does, which is very interesting how Ray knows everything. He's known from the very beginning that they were being used as livestock for the demons. But yeah, we see through his memories when he's born, where he's put, and how he's taken to a farm after a while, and he sees the demons. He sees everything. That's how he knows straight away that this is what's going on, that he's going to be eaten by a demon. That's how he's able to make the plan with Isabella. So that's all revealed to Emma and Norman at this moment, but I did like how the manga actually drew it out and showed us. And then chapter 30, Norman is shipped. I thought that a manga might show a little more than the anime did in that respect, like maybe the person who was inside the room, but that was just me being hopeful and wanting more on what happened to Norman. Obviously we've seen in season 2 what happened to him. I feel like the manga will go more into that, or not rush it. So I'm looking forward to that. But yeah, it was just like the anime. Isabelle directs him to this room, and then we see his face of shock, and that's it. I don't know what chapter he's going to return, but I miss my boy. Like in the anime, they brought him back in episode 5 of season 2, so he wasn't really gone that long. I think I'm gonna really feel his absence a lot more in the manga, since he's probably gonna be gone for longer, and I'll be even more happy when he's back. But I'm interested to see a lot of what it's going to be like when he's gone, and experiencing that a lot more than just the 4 episodes they gave us. Now, something that I found interesting in chapter 31 that I want to point out is that Isabella shows a moment of sadness and worry for Emma when she sees how torn up she is about Norman's death. We see a bit of who Isabella might actually be, or that she actually does care about the kids to an extent. She does feel a bit like a mother to them, and she feels a bit sad seeing Emma like this. I like that they add that in. Then chapter 33, we are shown again a mention of the unreadable demon that they keep mentioning, and this thing called a Tefari, which I assume is like a special feast or meal. And they say that Ray was meant to be the meal for this, and it's just adding more things I want to find out. And I love that. That was what I loved about The Promise Neverland in the first place anyway, and that's why season 2 didn't really do it for me, because every mystery was just solved straight away, and they got to the point where everything was just too easy and rushed, and I'm hoping that the manga does not do that. And then then chapter 35 is when we find out that Phil knew everything all along. I love Phil. He's such a great character. He's so perceptive and intelligent, like I said before. But in this moment, Phil steps up a lot more than I thought he could. Like, this is an anime as well, obviously. I'm just going to talk about it because I like this moment a lot. Phil steps up and he's like, it's okay, Emma, you can leave without us. I'll take care of things here. And they believe in him, and I believe in him because it's Phil, and he's showing how strong he is mentally. He is telling them to rely on him. He's like a 4-year-old child, and he's like, you can rely on me to take care of things until you come back. I hope we get to see more of Phil in the manga as it goes on. We got a bit of him in season 2, like his reuniting with Emma, and we got to see him a bit grown up, but I'm hoping that we get more of him. Maybe just seeing him more in the house taking care of the kids, like his family, or just more when they finally escape. I don't know how far in the manga that is, of course, but I do want to see more of Phil because he seems almost like a little mastermind, you know? This is also when the escape begins. And then in chapter 36, we see a change in Rei, which I really like. I think this might have been shown in the anime, but it stuck with me a lot more in the manga. This shift in Rei's character now that he sees Norman's plan coming into play, that everyone was readying themselves to escape, and he finally has this moment where he's like, oh, we can actually do this. We can escape with all these people. We're gonna survive. He had no real belief that they would make it out, especially himself. He was ready to die in that moment when he lit the match. He was ready to die from the very beginning. He had secured Emma and Norman's lives, but not his own. Norman knew this and he told Emma. Norman, again, being a genius, knowing his friends so well, he knew that Rei would go and try and kill himself. Then we see this change in Rei, not only that he is realizing that they can make it, but also he does not want to die anymore. He is ready to live and to escape, and I love to see this development, this change in Rei. I think is going to be very important as we go on. We're going to see a different kind of Rei. And then chapter 37, which is the last chapter. As the kids are escaping, we see Isabella's past, like in the anime. Now, one difference, which kind of upset me in the manga, is that Leslie doesn't play the guitar. I had no idea that he wouldn't play the guitar in the manga, but the anime, I'm glad they added that in because that gave us Isabella's Lullaby. The guitar version is the best version. Look at me playing the guitar. The guitar version is the best version of Isabella's Lullaby, and I listen to it all the time. I use it in my videos. You probably heard it in this video somewhere. I love that tune, and adding a guitar to Leslie was a great choice for the anime to make. But yeah, seeing Isabella's past is exactly like the anime, but what we do get actually is a little more insight into why Isabella is doing this. So in the anime, she says it's all for survival, but here we see just how important that survival is to her. It's more than just basic survival. She says that she is doing this as almost a rebellion towards the demons. She's like, you're gonna eat everyone, but you're never gonna get to eat me because I am a mother and you can't eat me. This is her resolve, her rebellion against the demons. This is the only way that she knows how to do it. I like to see it's more than just basic survival, that she is doing this to oppose the demons in any little way that she can. And this is when you start to feel a bit of sympathy for Isabella. I definitely felt it in the anime and the manga, a little sadness for her. And we even see that she cares about the kids. She lets them go in the end. She helps them escape. She gets rid of the ropes. She doesn't inform the demons about them escaping via a different way. She helps them in the end in a way. And she even tells Phil that they made it. I like it. It was a bit different in the anime. The anime, there's this whole moment when Emma is still on our side, on the wall, and Isabella comes. And there's this like whole moment between them. Isabella's thoughts of like, yeah, you go. And Emma being like, bye, mama. The manga doesn't really have that. And then they have escaped and they get to see the first sunrise. And that is where chapter 37 and arc 2 ends. So yeah, I really liked this arc. It was longer than the first one. There was a lot more to talk about, I guess, but not really because the manga and the anime, they were pretty much the same. It was nice to see them drawing. There were things that I said that I did like more in the manga, things that were shown more. For example, Norman, again, the burden that he was carrying and how he was trying to hold everything himself and figure everything out himself. And I think that's going to be really good for when it comes about later when he's back and we see that happening again. I don't know if the manga is the same as the anime. I'm pretty sure there's a lot that's going to be different, but I'm excited to see how they bring about Norman's character in the same way later on, and if it's going to be like how the anime, like how he burdens himself and he tries to sacrifice everything in himself for Emma and Norman and the kids that he cares about. But yes, so this is the second arc over. The third arc is the next one. Is called The Forbidden Forest. I'm excited to see that. I'm curious to see how long it lasts. I think it's a long arc as well. And in the anime, we only got, I think, 2 or 3 episodes in the forest, where we also met Mujika and Sonju. So I assume that's going to happen as well in the Forbidden Forest arc. I'm looking forward to see what the manga has in store and to keep on reading to see the differences this time. I think there will be a lot more. Let me know what you thought about the things I mentioned, about the manga, about the anime, anything you want to let me know. I'd love to read about it. And yeah, that's all I have to say. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and subscribe if you did, and follow me on Twitter. Until next time, bye!